Our correspondent Rachel Venables has done a lot of work over the months, hearing from people caught up in the cladding scandal. And Rachel often reports brand new details here on LBC. We're going to hear from Rachel, by the way, on another story in just a second. But I just wanted to highlight her role here on LBC in reporting the cladding scandal. And we've devoted a lot of time on this programme to hearing from people affected and talking about what's needed. Sophie Bichener bought her flat in Stevenage just before the fire at Grenfell in 2017 for £230,000, but like thousands of other homes, it's now deemed unsafe. Hi, Sophie, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Tell me about, it's always exciting buying a place and getting a new place. Tell me about the flat when you bought it. Why did you like it?
I think I was 24 or so when I bought my flat, so it was really my first step on the property ladder, being able to move out of my parents' house and try and avoid the cycle of renting that so many people go through. My property is quite close to London. I work in London, so it was a great place for me to after a long wait finally get the keys and move into these apartments.
And I imagine, like everyone who gets a mortgage, it's a stretch. Buying a place is expensive.
Yeah, and also terrifying as a first-time buyer, all of the things that you hear about that you never knew existed and having to pay for all the legal advice and the searches. It's a bit of a minefield at the start. So
you had all of that, but you successfully moved in. And then, of course, the Grenfell fire happened and all those lives lost. And then it became clear that there were lots of buildings around the UK with unsafe cladding, and yours is one of them.
Yeah, so our building doesn't have the Grenfell style cladding. It has non-ACM cladding, but also has a whole host of other fire safety defects like missing fire breaks, potentially flammable insulation, missing smoke seals on our front doors and the communal doors, and missing exit signage and emergency lightings and things. So a whole host of issues that were potentially present in Grenfell as well, but are definitely present in many, many buildings up and down the country.
This is something that you and other people where you live have been dealing with now for years, but we wanted to talk to you tonight because you've just had your half-yearly service charge notice.
Yeah, so we've kind of known for over a year now that this was going to be an issue with our building. So since that date, really no one's been able to sell if they were looking to or move on, knowing that the building was essentially valued at £0. And we knew that there was going to be obviously a huge cost for remediation because you're going to have to put scaffolding up. You're essentially going to have to take what's on the walls off and put it back on again and fix the insulation and everything. But when we got our bill through yesterday, it was just like an astounding amount of money. So it was actually £4.9 million for 73 properties, which works out at £208,000 per property. So to have that in writing as your debt essentially through the post or over an email as it was pretty distressing.
Oh, I mean, what on earth? What was your initial response when you clicked on that email? Because you bought the flat for £230,000 and your share of this bill is almost that amount again. Yeah,
so I mean, with the scale of this crisis in the country, we knew this was coming. So at least we had a bit of warning that this was going to be a big bill. We knew it was going to be a big bill. And we do have a slight hope that the Building Safety Fund may help us cover some of the money. The last estimate was that they may cover about 10 million. But that would obviously still leave about 5 million with us, which is about 50,000 per person. We're quite lucky in that respect, but there are obviously many properties like buildings under 18 metres who are potentially getting loans from the government, but they're not sure what or when. And also, I own all of my property, but there are lots of people who are shared owners who own 50% and would still be liable for that whole £200,000 if the government didn't help to fund it.
What are you going to do?
As I've done for the last year, sit tight and hope that the government realises that this problem has to be resolved, that leaseholders can't afford £50,000 to £200,000 worth of remediation on these buildings, and this has to be fully funded. Or we need to figure out why there are so many buildings up and down the country who are missing fire breaks, missing emergency signage, missing smoke seals, and lots of that was against building regulations. So there is someone out there who was responsible for those decisions and putting this building together as it was put together, and those people have to be held accountable.
Sophie, good to see you. Thank you. Sophie Bichener.